Hey everybody, welcome back to career planning or your career in sport. And this week we're talking about career planning. Okay. So there is a cycle when you're searching for a job. Okay. And we're going to start here. And this is where you have to identify your interests and goals. And we're going to talk further about this week. From there, you want to evaluate your qualifications. And we started that last week by completing the skills criteria sheet to see what you're good at, what you need to improve upon, what you want to focus on, etc. You're going to choose a career path and a job objective. You're going to search the open job market, search the hidden job market, design a persuasive resume and cover letter, which is what we're going to be focusing on next week. We're going to interview with companies. Again, in future weeks, we're going to do mock interviews. We're going to accept the offer or reevaluate our progress and start the cycle again. Okay. In your lifetime, word on the street is that you guys are going to have a minimum of 4 different careers in your life. So get used to this cycle because it's something you're going to be, doing more than a few times in your lifetime. It's not like it was when my parents were coming up and finishing college, where they'd plan on having one career for their entire life. You have to be more flexible now and be prepared to, have more than one career path. All right, so it starts off with really knowing yourself. So you got to start with an honest assessment of your interests, skills, strengths, weaknesses, personality, and values. And sometimes this can be really hard to do. So I always encourage people to, find somebody to feel comfortable and safe with. So somebody that, maybe a sibling or a parent or a really good friend that you've had for a while, and ask them these questions, because sometimes we don't recognize in ourselves what our strengths are or perhaps what our weaknesses are. So again, I like to say to you to make your own list and then go talk to somebody that you're really comfortable with and ask them if they agree or disagree or if they have different ideas. Okay. Be aware of your accomplishments. So again, making a list of things that you have accomplished in your career, in your educational career, in your volunteer career, and in actual work career. Are there any gaps in your qualifications? And this kind of goes back to, your resume, your original resume, or your list of things you've accomplished or completed. And are those gaps things like credentials? And it might be. Are those gaps in maybe having a middle management position? You want to go right from entry level right to management. So it's having a look at these gaps and finding where you're going to fit best and into what career path you should apply for, and where you should start, kind of. Okay, so we're going to look at an acronym, and the acronym is the word RACE. Okay, so R is for relationships, and what we need to do is we need to really focus on the relationships we already have with people, and understand that the relationships we already have with people are really a platform for networking. Okay, so if you want to go fast and go alone, if you want to go far, go with a group. So again, very rarely do people become successful completely on their own. They have to rely on a group of people that they already know, or a group of people that they know that can help, put them into the right direction. So working as a group is oftentimes a better situation. I know I still have friends from whenever I went to college, and I've surrounded myself with a group of people that were like-minded, and we had common goals. And truly, throughout all of our career paths, we've really relied on each other for different situations. Like I remember, I had come out of college. I found a job. The job wasn't exactly what, my dream job was. I ended up wanting to leave that job. And before I did, I reached out to my people and I was like, hey guys, here's what I've done. Here's where I want to go. Does anybody have any suggestions, or does anybody know anybody that can help me out? And sure enough, one of my people that I had aligned myself with had been working at an organization, and they were looking for somebody with my skill set. So I was able to apply. They actually recommended me, and I got that position. So again, if you just think you can do this completely on your own, I encourage you to wipe that train of thought away and really try to surround yourself with people that are there to support you, and you're there to support them. We have A, which stands for attitude. So I've got a little quote: whether that you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. And that's by Henry Ford. I'm a big believer in fake it till you make it. If you think you can't do something, then chances are you probably won't be successful at it. Or if you have great anxiety about it and you're like, oh, I definitely can't, get that job. Okay, you probably won't, because your subconscious is telling you can't do it, and you probably won't be able to achieve that goal. I'm a big believer in, The Secret. I don't know if any of you have read that book, but I encourage you to do so. When I want something, I think positively, like, okay, I don't have it now, but I'm going to get it. So a good example of that is teaching here at Durham College. So I started teaching here 11 years ago. I taught my first class, and I was like, I have found where I am supposed to be. This is my dream job. At that time, on average, you had to work at least a minimum of usually 7 to 8 years as a part-time faculty member before you could even consider getting full-time status. So I started writing that goal down. I will be a full-time teacher within 5 years. I will, and that was a vague goal, and then I started narrowing it down as time got closer to that 5 year. I will be a full-time faculty member in the School of Business. I will be a full-time faculty member in the School of Business in the sport programming within another 3 years. And I really truly believe if you believe in yourself, then your goals and your plans actually come to fruition. So again, you make the goal and you set, which we'll talk about in a bit, but you make that goal, you've set some parameters around it, and then you have an action plan to get to that place. And we'll talk about that process in a little bit more. We have C for communication. So your ability to communicate with others will account for fully 85% of your success in your business and in your life. And again, I really watched some of the videos that people put in the group discussion about successful teamwork, and the word communicate kept coming up. If you want a good team, you have to be able to communicate effectively. That came up over and over and over again in those videos, and it's true. If you are poor at communicating, you're going to really struggle to be successful in business as well as in your life. So if you recognize the fact that you are not a great communicator, and again, this is why I encourage you to ask those people that you feel safe around, those friends, those family members, because if they say communication is not your forte, it might be worthwhile to really look at that and see how you can improve on that skill. Because I have to say that's probably one of the number one skills you're going to need to make yourself successful. And E stands for effort. Okay, so hard work doesn't guarantee success, but without it, you don't stand a chance. I've heard so many people before say, well, that person's just lucky they got that job. And I don't believe in luck. Maybe a small percentage of luck. But I believe in putting in the effort. If you put in the effort to get the credential, you put in the effort to research a position, you put in the effort to hone your resume for that position, you put in the effort to actually critically think about how you want to achieve that goal, I think that's a lot of it. I've known some people in my life that academically perhaps were not, didn't score the highest, but they worked so damn hard to achieve their goals that there really wasn't ever a thought that they wouldn't get that goal because they worked so hard at it. Okay, so those are things to consider when you want to achieve any goal that you have. So I really like that acronym. I think it really resonates with me. Okay, and again, here's another quote. How to become an astronaut? You have to work really hard. Chris Hadfield did not just wake up one morning and be like, hey, I'm going to be an astronaut. I've got, a great personality and they're just going to accept me to the program. He worked his butt off. Okay, so again, we're working through this job search. So we've figured out what it is our goal is and what we want, and we're really evaluating those qualifications. We're really looking deeply into ourselves to see what we're good at, what we can improve upon, and kind of, tightening in that goal. Okay, that's our goal, and here's how my skill set can help me achieve that goal. So again, we're talking about the sport industry because that's the program you're taking. So understand there's these different elements of the sport industry. We have pro sport, so teams, leagues, pro competitions, sport entertainment companies. We have community sport, municipal recreation departments, local sport clubs and associations, private recreation providers, sporting goods, which includes manufacturers, suppliers, distributors, wholesalers, brand ambassadors. sport and event partners, so different agencies, consultants, sponsors, broadcasters, et cetera, et cetera. We have school sport, so OCAA, OUA, CAA, CCAA, U Sport, OFSA, college universities, sport facilities, so arenas, recreation venues, gyms, health clubs, training centers, and amateur sports. Okay, so Sport Canada, provincial sport ministries. So those are different sport industry sectors in Canada. And we're going to dive a little bit deeper and see approximately how many different organizations there are underneath each of these sectors. Watching your introduction videos, I would say at least 90% of you chose the pro sector, which I found really interesting because it'll be interesting to see if by the end of the semester you still have that affinity for that sector. It was nice to see a few of you actually were interested in sporting goods, and a few of you are looking to be brand ambassadors. Understand when people come to this program, they all say, or the majority of them do say, I want to work in pro sports. It's so exciting, which it is. But understand there are different sectors that also hold a high level of excitement level. So let's just quickly look through these. So again, we have our pro sector, and the sport focus is really entertainment value. Okay, and there's approximately 125 different organizations in Canada that would be encapsulated in that pro sector. We have amateur, which is really the development focus in sport. And there are 60 PSOs in each province, 60 NSOs, 25 MSOs, and then we also have government positioning. Okay, in community, we're really looking at recreation. Oftentimes people that take sport management find that they have very similar career paths if you choose community as those in rec and leisure. And there are many thousand jobs. There's tons in the municipalities. If you're ever interested in community, I was also the program coordinator of the rec and leisure program here at Durham, so I have a lot of connections through that position I had. We have facilities, which is the actual geographic places that many of these sports and amateur sports and community sports take place. And there are literally too many of those to count. And again, they could be either privately owned or municipality run. We have sporting goods that sell stuff or inventory. There are over 10,000. Some examples would be, the Sport Cheks of the world, Golf Town, Sporting Life, etc. And it dives a little bit deeper. Even if you want to be a brand ambassador, we have like apparel brand ambassadors, or you have like Bauer for hockey brand ambassadors. So something to consider. We have schools, the college and universities, and in Canada there's approximately over 200. We also have our MPOs and partners. So that's the sport focus where everything else would kind of, be lumped into. And it's hard to say how many there are in Canada. Again, too many to count. Okay, so really, really consider that when you're looking at jobs. What sector do you think it would fall under? And if that is something that you could be interested in. So what I want you to do is think about what your career vision is. Okay, and once you've thought about it, commit it to paper, write it down, because I'm a big believer in, if you think about it, it's a dream. If you actually commit it to paper, it becomes the beginning of a plan. So have a view of your future. Okay, so if you were to look into, a crystal ball, shake it up and look into it, what do you think your future is going to look at? What's that vision? What's your ultimate goal? And if your ultimate goal is to secure a position in NMLSE or to secure a position as a brand ambassador, write that down. Okay, and then I want you to come up with a mission. And a mission is a statement of purpose. So again, how you're going to achieve that, why you want to achieve it, and what your mission is to achieve that. What's your purpose? Okay, here's a slide. You can read this through. It's why you should hire athletes and the benefits of hiring athletes. And again, these are things to think about if you are an athlete. When you're, in that interview and they say, why should you hire, why should we hire you? And you think to yourself, well, actually, I'm an athlete. And here are some of the different reasons you should hire me as an athlete. And here are some of, my strengths. So you have to set goals. Okay, and the definition of a goal is an end result towards which effort is directed. Okay, a target is what you're aiming for. So, a goal is very specific. And we're going to talk more about goal setting. So have a set of long-term and short-term goals that support each other. And again, your short-term goal right now will probably be to successfully complete this program. And the reason you want to do that is because it's going to support your longer-term goal of finding a career within the sports sectors that we've talked about in this program. Okay, so why set goals? It gives you a direction for action. Like I mentioned, if you're just thinking about it, it's kind of a dream. It might not ever come to fruition. Where if you actually take the effort, write it down, choose a goal, it really gives you a direction for where your effort should be put. It guides decision making. So all the decisions you make, you can bring back to that goal and say, well, this supports the goal I have currently. You become accountable. So again, if you're just thinking it, you keep it all in your brain, you think about it, you don't really have to be held accountable for it. Whereas if you write it down and you set some time frames around it, you have to revisit those time frames and it holds yourself accountable. Okay, it stimulates change. So if the way you're running your life right now is not conducive for you to meet that goal, what do you have to change? And you have to really take a hard look. And sometimes our goals don't seem attainable. And the reason they seem that way is because you're not willing to change. All goals are attainable. You just have to commit to changing your trajectory to meet that goal. My son said something the other day. He's like, I'd love to be a teacher, but, I can't do that. And I'm like, well, why can't you do that? And he said, well, I'd have to go to school and I have to do this. And I'm like, yeah, you'd have to change your path. Currently, you're taking a few courses. You're not really sure what you want to do. Okay, if your goal is to become a teacher, start really looking hard at yourself now. Start taking courses now. You need that credential. Once you've had that credential, while you're getting that credential, network. So you can absolutely achieve any goal you want. You just have to be prepared to change sometimes, and sometimes make significant changes to be able to meet that goal. Okay, and I always hear, well, goal setting's too hard. Why should I do it? Okay, or why should I not do it? The only thing I can think of is people often say, oh, it just takes too much time, or, it's too structured. Okay, yeah. Sometimes in life, really important goals do take time. Rarely do you set a goal and you achieve it tomorrow. It's no different than weight loss. Okay, if you have a set a goal to lose 100 pounds, okay, well, just because you're on a diet for 2 days doesn't mean you're going to hit that goal. It does take time. It's going to take you maybe 2 or 3 years to achieve that goal. You do have to stay on the diet. You do have to make those life changes to be able to hit that goal. But if you're committed to doing it, you could hit that goal no problem. Okay, so here's an interesting chart. Okay, so here's a group of people and then what the result was. So people that just think of goals, 43% of them actually achieve those goals, so less than half. People that write goals down, okay, so just committing those goals to paper, 61% achieve that goal. The write goals down with action, only 51% of people, which I find interesting. I would have thought it would have been higher than 61%. People that write down goals, write down their action plan to get there and share it with others, have a 64% chance of achieving those goals. And again, I think it's that holding people accountable thing if you share that with somebody else. And a good example, it has nothing to do with career planning. It has to do with my personal life. So in the last year, I've lost about 65 pounds. And my whole life, I've been a little bit chubby. But my whole life, I've just kept my goal of losing weight up in my head. So a little over, I guess, a year and a half ago, I decided, no, I'm going to lose 100 pounds. I wrote it down. I put a plan together on how I'm actually going to achieve that goal. So change my diet, create an exercise regime and actually stick to it. And I did something I've never done before. I actually shared that goal with my husband. I shared it with my sisters. I shared it with a few people. And it held me accountable. So if I fell off the wagon, I knew, oh, you know what? I've already told everybody I'm going to hit this goal. And it was a bit of pride for me to actually continue with that goal. And I think it's no different whether your goal is weight loss or whether your goal is to achieve a particular career path. I think it's similar. And then the fifth group of people wrote down their goals. They planned it. They shared it with people. And then they updated. So they updated their actions. They updated who they shared it with. They sometimes updated and adjusted their goal slightly. So those people were 76% more likely to complete and accomplish their goal. So those are some things to think about when you're going through this process of planning on a goal for your career. Okay, so evaluate, choose a career path and an objective. We've kind of done that. And now we're going to talk about the job market, and this is the open job market. So there are some places, an open job market is where people actually are actively advertising for positions to be filled. Okay, so there are some general ones that I'm sure you're already familiar with: Workopolis.com, Monster.ca, Indeed.ca, Indeed.ca, Aluda.ca. Okay, so any corporate site that you're interested in, they usually post it directly on the corporate site. So, you know, if you wanted to work for Durham College, you would go to the Durham College site, and there's usually a job or careers link, and you could click on there and see where the jobs are posted. Okay, CIRC.ca are some of the best jobs in Canada. Charityville.com. If you're looking to work in the not-for-profit sector, this is a great site to go to. If I were you, I would actually take a snapshot of this slide. So if you have not been actively looking in the job market, the open job market, this slide in particular, I think will really help you to at least find some different sites that are reputable. Okay, if you're looking to get into sporting goods, CSGA.ca is a great site. Then there's some more generalized places that you can look for jobs, and typically they're more American. So I know we have some Americans in our cohort this semester, so this might be helpful for you. I can't talk. I've been talking too long. Workinsports.com, teamworkonline.com, and sportscareers.com are also other sites you can visit. Okay, I encourage you to be looking at these different sites. Set them as a reminder on your phone and check through them on a daily basis, because the more familiar you are with the types of jobs that are coming available, it'll help you really come up with your career goal if you don't already have a specific one already. Okay, so, and then know the job market, the hidden job market. So the hidden job market are jobs that are not necessarily publicized. So people just know about them through word of mouth. Okay, so how do you find those jobs that aren't posted? You want to build LinkedIn connections. We are actually going to be in this course requiring you to build a LinkedIn profile. So many of you already have one, which is great. I encourage you to look at what your new career goal is. So in what sector in sport, and really have a good look at that LinkedIn profile that you have, and see if it is really designed to achieve that goal. Okay, so you're going to build those LinkedIn connections that will help you achieve that job goal. You're going to look for referrals, and again, so important. You know, if you can be referred by somebody, that is a really huge stamp of approval. Networking in person and online. So right now during COVID, it's a little hard to do networking in person just because people are less, you know, they don't want to be too close, etc. But online is important. And I know you're going to have a lot of guest speakers in some of your different courses. And I encourage you to get their personal information, or their business information, i.e. like their email, their LinkedIn, etc., and reach out to those people and start some kind of relationship with them. Okay, information interviews. I know in my course you're going to be doing an information interview. I know in Jeff's course you're going to be doing an information interview. And understand, as teachers, this isn't just something, okay, we're making you do it so we can give you a mark on something. There's a purpose, and the purpose is lots of those information interviews are actually ways to network and to be able to get in communication with people in the positions that you may want one day. Okay, so don't look at it just like an assignment. Look at it as wow, this is a fantastic opportunity for networking. Talk to people who you may know. So contacts, alumni. We have a huge alumni in our program. You know, our program's been running for, I believe, 37 years. So literally a huge bank of people that you can reach out to. And again, surrounding yourself with like-minded people really helps. Okay, and apply when there's even not a posting, because sometimes they might not have put the posting up yet, but they've been thinking about filling that position. I've actually got a couple jobs that way where I applied. There was not a posting. I just applied because I'm like, you know what, I'd really like to work in that position, and I actually got called for an interview. So they never posted the position. I actually got the job. So those are some different ways that you can kind of break into the hidden job market. All right, so you're searching the open job market, you're searching the hidden job market. We're going to talk a little bit about the process. I'm not going to go too deeply into cover letters and resumes this week because next week we are dedicating our entire time to cover letters and resumes. And I know you all have cover letters, you already all have resumes, but we're going to really make sure that they're focused towards your particular goal. Okay, so you need a persuasive cover letter and resume. The resume's purpose is to get an interview. So I've been looking at a few people's resumes lately, not in our cohort, but just in general. And they're very generic. And I think to myself, you should almost be tweaking your resume or your cover, well, definitely your cover letter, but your resume for each job you apply for. So your resume is really your story, and it's the way that you're going to get that interview. So the interview purpose, let me just move myself here, is to get the job offer. So the whole reason you interview is to ideally achieve your goal and get the job that you want. An interview is for you to find out about them as much as they are to find out about you. And when we get to that interview section, which I believe is week 5, 6, 7, we're really going to talk about questions that you should be asking your future employer. Because I know oftentimes that's where people get really stuck. So we're going to investigate that a little bit further. Okay. So here's just a note that I thought I'd post because I think it's important. 10 things that require zero talent. So you do not have to be talented to be on time. We're hearing from our PAC members that one of the big issues with graduates is that they do not recognize the importance of being on time. So we're here to help you with that. So when we set deadlines and due dates, the purpose of that is to help train you with those soft skills to be on time, to hand things in on time, to show up on time. When we have a class at 11:10, the expectation is that you are there at 11:10, not 11:15, not 11:20. Okay? Your work ethic, again, zero talent to be able to work hard and to have a good work ethic. Your effort, how much effort you put into something, you do not have to be talented to put in effort. Body language, and again, online is just as important as face-to-face. Okay, so if you're sitting looking up off into the distance while you're listening to people talk on those Zoom calls or in the you're not looking engaged, okay, there's a body language and there's, you know, a little bit of first impressions that come with that. Your energy, your attitude, your passion about something, being coachable, which is really important. Sometimes I've worked with people where they come in and think they know everything and they're the end all be all and this is how I do things and that's just the way it is. You have to be flexible. Nobody is perfect. I've encouraged all of you to give me feedback. And the reason for that is because I am a coachable person. I want to make sure that if things aren't going well, that I can, you know, be coached or be given feedback and I can improve who I am. Doing that little bit extra and being prepared. Okay, so those are all things that require zero talent that everybody here is more than capable of doing. Okay, so some final job reminders. Okay, I can tell you, and your other professors can tell you as much, you know, information and research and data as we know. Okay, but you are the one that's responsible for your own job search and your own career plan and path. Nobody else can do it for you. I have some friends whose daughter has just recently graduated from Ryerson, and they're like, oh, you know, like we're trying to help her apply for jobs and she's just not, you know, getting them. And I'm like, well, that's part of the problem. You're helping her apply for jobs. She's the only one that can be responsible for her career trajectory, not you. No one cares about your career more than you do. Your faculty really do care, but not as much as you care because, you know what, I hate to say it, but you know, at the end of the semester, you're going to be on your way, or the end of the year, you're going to be on your way. And I have a new batch of students that I have to focus my energies on. So you really are responsible for your own career path and your own job search. And you can ask people for help, and they're more than willing to help you, just like me and your other faculty members. But really, you're the one that cares the most about what you do with your career. Your priorities are not the same as somebody else's priorities, and that's an important thing to keep in mind. Oftentimes, companies will hire for attitude and train for skills. So I always tell people, if you look at the requirements and you do not meet the job requirements, maybe there's 10 requirements and you only have 8 of them, still apply for the job. and go through that interview if you get it with gusto, and make sure you tweak your resume and your cover letter, because oftentimes you can be hired for your attitude and your behavior, and they can train you for some of the other things. So everybody always puts out their wish list for somebody coming into the position, and very rarely does everybody check every box that come in for an interview. Your most important but not only attribute is how you get along with people. So again, that relationship is or your ability to foster good relationships is really, really important. Be prepared to hear no a lot, or not hear anything at all. I feel bad for a lot of people that come to college and we're like, if you do all these things, you're gonna get the job. Okay, probably you won't get the first job you apply for, or the second or third or fourth or fifth, etc. I remember when I left college, and I left with a diploma in accounting, and I applied for I don't know, it seemed like 100. I probably applied for about 25 different jobs, and I had about 11 different interviews, and I got told no on each one. And each one I was just absolutely shocked and mortified and so upset. And then I got the 11th one, and I was happy. And then this process has, repeated itself. You have to prepare yourself to hear the word no. Okay. And if you go in with that mindset that I will get the job, and then you find it you don't be deflated about it. Say, okay, but what did I learn from this experience? I got the opportunity to interview with a great company. I met a whole bunch of people within that company. And that's another way to network. Okay. You must be persistent. So again, if you get turned down for that particular job, and you've met all these people, and hopefully you've collected their business cards, or, followed them on LinkedIn or what have you, don't just walk away. Say, okay, thank them. Be persistent. Follow up. Thank them for that opportunity. Maybe in a couple months, reach out to them and say, hey, is there anything else come available that you think I might be a good fit for? You've already interviewed me, so you kind of have an idea. And build those relationships. And it's a matter of being persistent. You can take the shotgun approach or a sniper approach or anything in between. So apply for a lot of things. Shotguns have a splatter approach, or a sniper. There's one specific thing you want, and you're going to focus all your energies on that one specific thing. This says it can be a full-time job to find a full-time job. I think we should take it the word can and say should. It should be a full-time job to find a full-time job. Meaning, if you get up at 9 a.m., like you normally would when you're done school and you're looking for a job, and you put your efforts in for 8 hours into networking, into looking through those open resources, into investigating those hidden job opportunities, that can take full-time work. And you should be doing that and putting out as many resumes as possible, and reaching out and networking with as many people as possible. It really is a full-time job. And the hardest full-time job to find in your career is going to be your first one. Okay, so keep that in mind. I want to set you up, your expectations to be reasonable. Okay, luck is what happens when preparation meets opportunity. And I hope you kind of got an idea of what I mean by that in the different slides we've had. So in our synchronous hour this week, what we are going to do is we're going to talk about some of the things that I've talked about already. And we're actually going to do a brainstorming activity where I'm going to break you up into groups, and you're going to brainstorm different venues and different ways you have found a job, or you think you could find a job, because I think there's value in sharing that information with your peers. Okay, hope everybody has a good week, and hope this recording was okay.